Hello and welcome to another Woman of the Week. I'm Jackie Rives, your community leader for Women of the Channel Leadership Network. Today, I'm pretty excited because I have a special woman that we are highlighting, and that is Carolyn Herr, VP of Channel Communities with the Channel Company. Hi, Carolyn. Thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for finally asking me.
That's awesome. Well, I can't wait to get to know you a little bit better. For those of you that don't know, Carolyn is on our team and she's my boss. So I'm not nervous at all and it's going to be great.
I'm not nervous either.
Fantastic. I love it. All right. So we'll start with the easy icebreakers. Where do you live and where did you grow up?
I live in Southern California in Orange County, which is halfway between LA and San Diego. But I grew up in New York. I grew up in Staten Island, New York, was born in Brooklyn, New York. And I moved to California on the day after my college graduation. I drove west because I went to college on the East Coast.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That little known fact I did know about you. How about another little known fact that you're willing to share with everyone today?
Well, I would say this is probably little known because it's pretty new, but about a month ago, I started taking improv classes.
That is so awesome.
It came from being on stage at Women of the Channel West 2023. Mm-hmm. I was trying to be funny. I was trying to make some jokes, and some people said, "Hey, you should take your turn at improv." And I was like, you know what? There's a place in my neighborhood, and I'm going to. So I've been going for about a month now.
Are you enjoying it?
And I think there's some really good leadership skills that you can learn from improv. So yeah, awesome. I'm trying to work them in.
Yeah, no, I definitely was one of those people that when I'm watching you on stage, I was like, you're funny. Like, you're really funny. I really enjoyed watching you do the opening remarks. So
thank you. Thank you.
All right. So let's dig into a little more about you in the professional world. So how do you differentiate yourself?
I mean, for me, I differentiate by being me. I really do try and bring my my true self to work. I do not think there is a tremendous difference between me with my friends and me with my coworkers. I think I'm always been known for saying what I think and being pretty frank. My boss always tells me I've got no poker face at all. He would love to play poker with me because he would take all my money because I make faces, you know, and I'm like, I don't understand, you know. So yeah, I just try and keep it real. And I think most people should.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'd lose money right there with you. I'm very skilled at being the worst. I can't lie or fib or, you know, hold a surprise, especially with someone that knows me. You know, you'll see it all over my face.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Awesome.
Which is tough. I mean, I do think there are that is a skill I could work on because I do think there are times, you know, particularly when you're in negotiations or something like that, where it is probably behooves me to not be showing all my cards the way I tend to.
That is really good insight, actually. I never really thought about it like that before. That's pretty smart. Might be something I think about working on too.
Something to work on in the next year.
Yeah, I like it. All right. What made you want to be in a leadership position?
You know, truthfully, I'm not quite sure that it was an active decision. I think what tends to happen for a lot of people is that when you do well in your job, you get more responsibilities added, more promotions added, and eventually that means people coming underneath you. I don't know why companies always feel that that should be the natural growth path, right? That in order to make more money, you need to manage people, because it's not really the same skill set at all. And for me personally, I think it has been a little challenging because I think I'm a doer by nature. I like to get things done. I have clear opinions on sort of the path, like how things should be done. And so it has been something I really have to be conscious of in leaning back, right, as I lead others now and letting them find their path. It doesn't have to be my way. It doesn't. And I tend to have this desire to just get in there and do things myself. And I don't think that that's not my current position. That's not why I'm in this role. And so I have to fight my own natural tendencies sometimes to be more of a team leader and department leader. And I think that that's not unique to me. I think there's probably a lot of women and men who didn't necessarily seek out, like, I want to be a leader, I want to run a team or department. It has just naturally come. Although it's interesting, right? Because yeah, I want to run a department because I do have ideas and concepts about ways things should be done. But true leadership is really about empowering those on your team to be successful, for them to shine, And so it's much more about developing of other humans. And that's not necessarily the same skill set of being good at process or being good at project management,
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. It's a totally different skill. It kind of pushes you out of your comfort zone, like you said, just, reacting and want to just solve the problems for people, but that's not really.
You tell me, am I too dictatorial in the way that I tell you?
No, you definitely have your opinions, but you definitely say, I'm open to other things. Like, I'm open to other suggestions or other ways. Maybe this is the way I would look at it or approach it, but what are your thoughts? You ask a lot of questions, and that's really good too.
Yeah, I think be curious is certainly one of my mantras in life. I love to ask questions. I don't know if I could stop if somebody told me to.
No, I think that's that you're probably the most curious person I have met in my career.
I will take that as a compliment.
You should 100%. You don't take things at face value, and that's a good thing. Okay, so how do you continue to grow and develop as a leader then?
All right, so I'm going to go back to the improv thing, right? Because it's something that I've been doing for about a month. And I do feel I had once upon a time, maybe it might have even been in the Women of the Channel Leadership Network, we had an improv speaker come and talk about lessons from improv and how they could be applied to business and the world of leadership. And I remember liking that session a few years back, but now that I'm going to these classes, they really are so transferable. So the first one, the primary foundation of improv is yes and. And that means no matter what your partner on stage says to you, you have to go with it. You have to say yes, and you have to build upon it. So a successful skit, a successful scene will never be you saying, no, that's not going to work. Let's do something else. You can't create that conflict. You have to be on the same team. You have to say yes, and you need to see where the story takes you. I feel like this is a really important lesson, and one for me to really embrace and learn to live, because again, that's not my natural tendency. My natural tendency is to be like, somebody will brainstorm an idea and I too quickly go to the point of, well, how would we execute that? How would that actually work? And what are the, problems and roadblocks? And that is very anti-improv, right? It is to live in that moment of possibility and to say yes. And it's really important, I think, when your teams are together in a brainstorming, that brainstorming ideas is really different than executing on those ideas. And I think I have this tendency to jump ahead to the thinking of the tactical of how we will execute that strategy. And so I shut down too many great ideas in the brainstorming phase. So that's a key thing that I'm trying to work on. Yes, and.
I love that advice. Something you said, like living in the moment of possibility and saying yes. That resonated with me because I could think of even my personal life where, someone in my family will say, hey, let's do this. And I'm like, but how are we going to do that and this and get there on time? And like, I just want to figure out all the details that go into it, which kind of just takes away the fun of what the possibility of this adventure could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. I love that.
So a second tenet of improv is to fully commit. And so this reminds me of a conversation I had with a woman recently who she works at AWS. And at AWS, there is this culture of really fully debating ideas. But then once a decision is made, everyone has to fully commit, right? Even if you were on the other side of the spectrum during the debate. And so in improv, there is this concept of fully committing as well. So again, when your partner on stage, starts going off in a direction, not only do you have to say yes, but you really have to fully commit to them. And you have to be all in. And I think that concept is really important because teams are always going to have debates and teams are always going to weigh the pros and cons. And like you had said, I'm going to have a suggestion of probably how I would approach it, but then I'm telling my team members that I'm open to their ideas as well. And if we go with that idea, I have to fully commit and I can't be second guessing the approach the entire time because it wasn't my idea that won out. So yeah. Those are two lessons from improv.
Yeah, no, those lessons are great. I can't wait to hear more. And it makes me
You just want to hear the jokes.
Maybe, but I do think that your tips are really, really insightful. And I don't know, they're hitting home for me. So thank you for sharing those with us. And thank you so much for spending time with us today, Carolyn.
I love it. Yeah. Anything to help women in the Channel Leadership Network. And I appreciate everything you're doing. And I'm so glad you finally asked me.
Yes, me too. Me too. All right. Well, there you have it. Please continue to dive into this conversation, share your tips. We want to hear about it. With that, thank you all for being here and have a great Wednesday.
Yeah. And sign up for your local improv class. It's fun.